Hello everybody, Kip Teitsort here with Chronicles of a Culture Changer from DT4EMS. And what we're going to talk about now is every system is great when it's used for what it was designed for. So every system is great when it's used for what it was designed for. Let me start by saying this. There are some systems going around right now in medicine that not by admission, but by omission, are allowing healthcare providers to believe that they're a self-defense system for healthcare. These classes are really primarily talk only, and which I agree now, guys, with verbal skills, again, fantastic. We have a verbal skill system that we use with us, and they have a verbal skill system that they use with theirs. But understand, too, that we put things into perspective. That's why our classes are called E.V.E. or Escaping Violent Encounters, because what we're doing is trying to address the area where your staff are being attacked. And if your staff are being attacked, it is no longer a time to talk to someone. So what I mean by that is if people are showing up to class wearing a suit and tie and dress shoes, and you are under the belief that it is a self-defense class, there's a problem, because that's obviously not a self-defense class if you're trying to work out in dress shoes. Granted, we sometimes believe that you should be wearing what you're going to be wearing if you're defending yourself. However, the primary understanding of safety, you're probably going to want to be making sure that you're dressed for self-defense. Now, with that said, we have to caution you, because think about it like this. If this class is leaving your students with the fact that if they're in the middle of being choked, punched, pushed, or kicked, they should still be going, "Please, sir, stop choking me, stop kicking me, stop biting me," we have a problem. So that is, again, by not by admission, but by omission, they're allowing healthcare to believe that they're a self-defense system when they're really a system that was designed for children or elderly and dealing with those folks in medicine, not the stuff that's beating our people up that's causing the injuries, which is what we're discussing. So next would be, let's think about law enforcement. So now there's finally starting to get some acknowledgement that this problem really exists by some agencies. What they've done is they started reaching out or scrambling, whether it be contacting a local martial arts school or contacting the local law enforcement and asking them to send over the DT instructor. So let's talk about the DT instructor first. So law enforcement defensive tactics really is trying to get officers to deal with what they mostly face, which is someone who's resisting custody and or control, because they're trying to apply the law, which is when they should or should not take a person into custody. Since the majority of law enforcement uses of force are against a person being either passively or defensively resisting, very rare is it where the person is actively aggressing on law enforcement. So the majority of their stuff is how to take custody of a person who's not wanting to go to jail. That's really where it's at. Now, isn't that a contrast to what we're dealing with in medicine? In medicine, we're supposed to get consent from a person before we even touch them. So there's a big difference in, should we apply a police technique, which I think is very ironic. If you're trying to use police-style control techniques to take a person into custody, if there was such a technique that was so fantastic, that works so well all the time, why do police officers have so many other tools on their belt? Pepper spray, taser, baton, things like that for when empty hand skills fail. So if you're relying on the police officer's empty hand skills to take custody of a person, that again is placing our providers in some danger. So police techniques, again, as a former law enforcement defensive tactics instructor, trained with a lot of police officers, trained a lot of police officers, what we do in law enforcement is completely different than what we should be doing in medicine. So we have to be careful about trying to apply a pain compliance technique to someone we're supposed to be having consent. So if we need to take custody, let the cops take custody, then we offer care. So now let's look into some martial arts things. Martial arts systems, I'm a huge fan, guys. I still train. I'm a huge fan of multiple systems. I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is fantastic. I think Krav Maga is fantastic. I think Muay Thai is fantastic. I think wrestling is fantastic. I think Aikido is fantastic. There are multiple systems, and I could just keep going on down the list, that I think are absolutely fantastic. But you have to say and ask yourself, why am I training and what is my end goal? What am I training for? So if you're regularly training already, there's not a lot of techniques that I'm going to teach you or can teach you about you. What I'm trying to do is talk about the techniques that we should be using in medicine on the job, not about what I should be using in the ring, not about what I should be using if I was walking in the park, not about what I should be using if I was standing in a bar, off duty and get accosted. Those are completely different situations. We are trying to build in these critical thinking skills for the people in medicine. So we have to be very wary of what we're using and what we're trying to do. So are we really trying to put a square peg into a round hole, or are we trying to use the round peg for the round hole. So every system is great when it's used for what it was created for. So just be careful, do your homework and research and go, what is it that we're trying to learn? Is it covering all four areas, mind, street, media, and courtroom for our staff? And are we using like the subject expert material for what we're trying to do? I'm not trying to teach stuff to cops. I'm not trying to teach stuff to martial artists. I'm not trying to teach stuff to fighters in a ring. What we're trying to do is to say, what did we really need in medicine? And then let's apply it there for the stuff. Basically, we're triaging self-defense in medicine. We're doing the most amount of good we can for the most amount of people in medicine. So hopefully that helps you understand that sometimes, although the heart is in the right place while trying to, bring in the law enforcement, bring in the martial arts instructor, or whatever, to our people, just be careful and make sure that whatever training you choose, that it is the right tool for the job. Otherwise, we're just making some mistakes, and we're going to give our people the wrong perception of what we should be doing on the job. Because I will tell you, let me put it like this. That's why we've got the blog post about soft restraints equals hard times for providers, is because that's the number one situation that we've been able to find where violence is actually occurring. Not just defensive type of stuff, but actual acts of aggression, either by a person who was erroneously labeled a patient as attacking a provider, or providers are using excessive force on real true medical patients. So do your homework, research it, and until then, I'm Kip Teitsort with Chronicles of a Culture Changer from DT4EMS. That's all we do. We are the round tool for the round problem. Talk to you soon.